Some of the most popular YouTube music production videos are people recreating tracks by today's biggest artists, and they have titles like How to Produce Vocals Like Drake. But while we can learn a lot from our favorite artists, trying to sound just like them might be why so many music producers are dissatisfied with their music. If you don't stop comparing yourself to other artists, then you'll never be happy. Let's talk about the dangers of comparison and what we can do instead so we can feel satisfied and fulfilled with our music. Comparison is the thief of joy. Throughout our lives, we're always comparing ourselves to others. I don't run as fast as Johnny. My voice isn't as cool as Kurt Cobain's. We pick one aspect of another person, and if we don't measure up to it in our own mind, we actually start to get down on ourselves about every aspect of ourselves. When we hone in on something that somebody else has, we lose appreciation for the things that we do have. And one of the problems is we don't just pick one aspect of one artist. We're cherry picking the best parts of all of our favorite artists. We wish we could sing like Whitney Houston. We wish we could make beats like Kanye West. We want to play guitar like Eddie Van Halen. And we forget that the people we want to sound like are also multi-dimensional people like we are, and they are complete with flaws and problems of their own. They might have some extreme talent that we admire, but they also have their own host of problems that we probably wouldn't take on in order to have their talent. From my own personal experience as a musician and from friends and other musicians and people that have been on the podcast, once we start comparing ourselves to others, we lose all joy in our own music. And it can happen at all stages of the process. In the beginning of the songwriting process, our little baby ideas haven't had a chance to be fully formed yet. They're just born. And if we start comparing those baby ideas to some of the music of our favorite artists, it's never going to live up to that. No matter how good the idea is, it's just not as fully developed. Our little baby idea is never going to stand up to a song by one of our favorite artists that was probably produced and polished by a whole team of professionals at the top of the industry. Our baby idea just doesn't stand a chance. And most artists go through dozens and dozens of songs in order to come up with the 10 songs that make the album that you actually hear. So our baby idea will never make it to that level. So if we're comparing our ideas to something of that caliber, we're always going to be disappointed. And it's not fair to the idea. You wouldn't do this to a child that's learning a sport. Take a little kid that's just joining Little League to play baseball. You wouldn't compare them to Derek Jeter or Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth after one day of playing. You know that they need time to develop and grow and mature into those types of players, but we don't treat our ideas the same way. We get upset, we get disappointed, we feel inadequate, we wish we had the skills and talents of our favorite artists, and that can cause us to give up on a great idea before it ever has a chance to develop. Especially in the early stages of the game, we want to avoid comparing our work to others. But sometimes it is useful to use, say, reference tracks while you're mixing or writing a song. This is where we have another song perhaps in our session and we listen to it periodically just to see if we're on the right track. That's fine because that gives us valuable information. We can hear if we need to add some elements or do some changes to the mix. But we don't want to compare it. We're not trying to say, is this as good as that? We're just looking for something to aim for. We're trying to get near the quality of something that we like. But sometimes when we listen to our reference tracks, we start comparing it to the track. And that's something we want to avoid if we want to give our ideas a fair chance. You can either fit in or you can stand out, but you can't really do both. The things we really remember are the things that stand out. Anything that's simply fitting in is often pretty quickly forgotten. We need someone or something to take a chance and be interesting and be unique for it to stand out. Consider an artist like Billie Eilish. When she first came out, her music was so different than anything else that was out there. It was quiet, dark, moody, very minimal. It was a daring sound. Sometimes it was even creepy and strange. It caught on though because it was so different. It had so much personality the way her and her brother create their music. But now there's so many people imitating that style and they're all very forgettable. They're never going to quite get to what she's done with her music if they're trying to do the same thing she's doing. Those are the people that in a few years you're not even going to remember, but you will remember her for her uniqueness. The truth is, you're never going to sound like your heroes. It's just not going to happen. You'll always fall short. You'll always kind of ruin it, but in your own personal way. And that's actually a good thing. We don't need more of your heroes. We need something different. We need you. We don't need more imitations. And this is only being proven now that we have AI systems that can generate music that sound exactly like the artists that we all know and love. Their voices can be synthesized where you would be fooled if you didn't know any better that you were listening to AI music. But people don't really care. They don't want to hear that. They don't want the imitation, even if it is indistinguishable from the original. They want the sound of the person that they love. They want the perspective of the person they love. And they want the development of that artist. And an AI can't predict what an artist is going to go through. It can only copy what's already been done. And that's the same thing that'll happen if we just chase the sounds of our favorite artists. No one's going to rush out to hear an AI Taylor Swift concert. No one's interested in that. They want her. They want her unique experiences. Even if we could be exactly like our favorite artist, the best level we would ever achieve is just that of a great impersonator. Let your flaws be your trademark. Embrace your imperfections and make them part of what you do. Cultivate them and double down on them. Focus on the things you do well. No one loves perfect. People relate to vulnerabilities because we all have them. When people give speeches and talks, they often reveal personal weaknesses, shortcomings, or even open with some self-deprecating humor. It makes them come off as human and honest, and it helps build trust. There's nothing wrong with being inspired and even wanting to make music like someone else, but let your own personality come through. Don't edit away your idiosyncrasies. Embrace them. Think of all of your favorite singers. So many of them tried to copy their heroes, but they ultimately fell short, but in their own style. Most of my favorite singers are not going to win American Idol. That's not what they do. They're not technically great all the time. It's the sound of their voice. It's the way they put words together. It's just their style that's so intriguing. Keep working at what you do, even if it's bad. Soon it'll get good. Often the things that we think are bad about ourselves are the very things that people enjoy. Figure out what's weird about yourself and go in that direction. Maybe it'll start off a little bad at first, but if you cultivate it and work on it, it might become the very thing that makes you stand out from the crowd. But you'll never get there if you don't push through. We all have to work with what we have. And you don't want to sound like Drake. You don't want to produce music like Phineas. You want to sound like you, and you want to produce music like you. We don't need more Elvises. We don't need more Beatles. We have those originals. What we don't have is you. Be happy that you are the only person in the world that can do you exactly right. You are the world's leading expert at being yourself. Embrace it. It's your ultimate advantage over everyone else. So congratulations, you are the only you. But are you still finding yourself getting stuck in the process of making your music, bringing your unique character to the world? Maybe you're doing the exact thing I talk about in this video. So many of us producers are. Click the link to watch the video, and in the comments, let me know, what are your unique characteristics as an artist? Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.